Yeah, I mean, Dune. I mean, there's a lot of talk, a lot of buzz on the internet at the moment about a film, TV series that's going to be released soon. A remake of a remake of sorts of the Dune idea, the Dune concept, Dune franchise. Yeah, there's a lot of hype, to talk about this, location shots and artwork and who's going to be this actor and that actor. Dune's originally from a 1960s science fiction novel called Dune by Frank Herbert again, and it's quite interesting. When I was growing up, I was right into science fiction, and a lot of people in the past have complimented me on my sort of breadth of knowledge of science fiction because, yeah, I've read Dune, I've read a lot of Heinlein and stuff like that. Now, but the reason I want to talk about Dune is because it's one of the most starkly obvious political, economic allegories of our time. I've said for years that science fiction doesn't talk about what it purports to talk about. Science fiction is always an allegory for modern times, one way or another. And so, yeah. So I mean, the novel has had some kind of longevity in popular discourse because it's still relevant, so to speak. But it has this idea of a universe ruled by, or a galaxy ruled by a galactic emperor, and it's run in a feudal system, in a feudal manner, with these great houses, great noble houses competing for resources and power and money, and advantageous dynastic marriages and that sort of thing. Now, well, the thing about it, there's this planet of Arrakis, which is like a desert planet, as opposed to, like, there's the House Atreides, where Paul Atreides, the protagonist and hero, comes from this forest planet, and there's a desert planet. And anyway, on this desert planet there's grown this thing called the spice, which is a kind of a melange between Arab oil, Gulf oil, and spice, which is the spices, the myrrh and frankincense that are traditionally grown in the Eastern Arabian Peninsula, which in antiquity were highly valued for their just healing properties, antiseptic and healing properties. The thing is, this spice enables interstellar travel. And it's easy to make fun of a lot of things in the novel. I get these there's this group called the Navigators Guild, where these people who do interstellar transport between the different parts of the galaxy. They need to ingest this spice and able to to be able to pilot their spacecraft. Anyway, the spice must flow, you see, and the spice is a monopoly because it only comes from one planet, and there's a monopoly, and the matter or the book concerns itself when this House Atreides, a noble house, gets tapped by the Emperor to run the spice monopoly. Now, it's already been run by another related noble house called the Harkonnens, and there's Duke Leto Atreides, and there's Baron Harkonnen. Bad, boo hiss, bad. Now, the House Atreides gets tapped to take over the spice monopoly and run it for the good of the Empire. Now, straight away, there's this really strong analogy between colonialism, colonial powers, European colonial powers competing for influence in the Middle East, and yeah, obviously, House Atreides represents British Israel, and because there's this really unmistakable thing about Zionism in the book. Atreides represents British Israel, and the Harkonnens represent Russian or German or French or some other guys, some other European colonial power which competes with the British in the region. Now, now that would be just sort of unremarkable. But I mean, the times when it was written, and the fact that first of all, the Harkonnens are represented as having red hair, and I think it's fairly obvious that this is a big signal, because in Rabbinical mythology, the red-haired evil opponents of the Jews are the Edomites or the Amalekites, and the Amalekites is this sort of they're a bad guy in Rabbinical mythology, and almost anyone opponent of, say, the British Empire has been labelled Amalek at one point, like the Russians or the Germans or the French or Spanish. The thing is, obviously the well, I'll wreck the film. I mean, obviously the hero Paul Atreides, the son of Duke Leto, represents the Jewish Messiah, who restores Israel. And there's this funny name he has for it, the Kwisatz Haderach. And in the end of in the climax of the book, Paul Atreides, after many adventures, he kills Fade Rotha, the nephew of Baron Harkonnen. He kills Fade in hand-to-hand combat, and takes over the political control of the planet Arrakis. Now, there's all these other sub-themes in the book, which are, with some varying clarity, allegories for organizations and forces and ideas, political ideas in Western society, like the Bene Gesserit, which is this secret women's society, which controls dynastic marriages and controls, that has a breeding program amongst the elites. They're like female Jesuits, Jesuit, Bene Gesserit, which means son of, which in Hebrew. Look, Frank Herbert didn't really know Hebrew or Arabic, and so there's a lot of really cringy things in the book because he's sort of. Anyway, it's a lot of goofy things, but I mean, there is this Zionist dimension of the book where Paul, who becomes the Kwisatz Haderach, and the Mahdi, who's a leader of the tribes, the local tribes, he obviously is the Jewish Messiah, but on the way there's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of mystical, magical ideas fleshed out in the book, and you see a lot of ideas from, the actual nature of rabbinical mythology is seen in a stark form by being viewed through the lens of fiction. And one of the things is that this Kwisatz Haderach, who is also the Mahdi for the desert tribes, he's a product of a long breeding program by the Bene Gesserit. So, and not only are they trying to breed a superior genetic type, this Kwisatz Haderach possesses like Platonic magical powers, like race memories. He has memories, race memories from his ancestors, and which gives him special knowledge and abilities. And there's this idea of John Locke protested against this idea of innate notions in philosophy. But the Platonic philosophy, Frank Herbert's into this stuff with boots on. And but the dichotomy, the dualism of Israel versus Amalek is really about an idea of genetic good versus genetic evil. A tribe, or there's this taxonomy of the human race which divides it into the good seeds and the bad seeds, inherently good people and inherently bad people, which is what underlies the myth of Amalek. And so you get, as I said, you get a lot of attending this. You get Platonic ideas like race memories in this book, but there's other ways of talking about innate notions, like mathematical theorems, and that's a goodie. That's an old chestnut. It's about whether mathematical theorems are an inherent idea in the human psyche. But now, obviously, one of the parts of the rich fabric of the novel is there's a great big dollop of Eastern martial arts mysticism, and yeah, in the book they've banned projectile weapons and things, and so battles come down to hand-to-hand combat with swords and shields and electronic force field shields. So there's a lot of dueling and sword fighting in the book. And which yeah. Now there's a real mystical. I wasn't so much aware of it when I was growing up, but in the martial arts world, I mean, there's apparently the higher you go in martial arts, it turns from being into a physical training, physical combat thing to a more spiritual training thing, and people go up from different colours of belt to black belt, and then start going up to these dans. And the higher they go through these dans, they get more and more spiritual. Now, there's a great dollop of that in the novel, and there's this idea of these Beni Gesserit. They're like these sort of super kind of nuns on steroids, so to speak, who go around screening male heirs of noble houses for mystical powers. And yeah, there's no distinction between genetically endowed talents and some kind of genetically endowed sort of spiritual abilities. So that's one thing in the book that's just glossed over, and philosophical problems with it, with Platonism, are cheerfully ignored. But I'll have to leave it there for the moment.